Welcome back to Buttons and Buds. It's Nugget here. Wanted to go over some tips and tricks and ideas I had, and yeah, just talk about Arc in general and go over a few things since the wipe. First things I wanted to go over would be mostly just like settings stuff that was really huge for me getting into the game. I really, really enjoyed the way you can play with your crosshairs. I like the circle crosshair, which you can switch in the accessibility settings. Then you go to override crosshair shape and select the shape you want. There's a whole bunch of options. You can play with the center dot, change the size of it, and a lot of different granularity. I really like neon green for my colors. Neon green stands out from just about every texture in the game. There are greens, but there's not like a lot of bright green stuff. Just a cool option. Helps you see your crosshair. I prefer the override so that all of my crosshairs are the same. Another interesting one, which I believe these are on by default, but it will move crosshair when your bullet is blocked by an obstacle. This is really helpful when you're behind cover peeking for somebody and you're not sure if you're going to hit them or not. If you have this on, I believe it's on by default. Check and make sure. If you have this on, it really helps show you when you're going to hit a wall or clip something, and it'll smooth that line if you have smoothing on so that it'll move along the wall and show you what's happening as your weapon is moving around. It's super helpful. I really love having an FPS overlay on as well, because that helps you check to make sure everything's working well in the game. I had MDFSR3 off when I first started playing, and I was seeing lower frame rates of like around 110 to 120 peak when I was playing. And just turning on FSR3 actually really, really helped. Putting it on balanced setting, slightly lower render resolution, allowed the game to run at 144 hertz pretty much all the time, which is the render rate of my monitor. So that's probably about the best I can do. I always play with motion blur off as far as options for, you know, graphic settings. I prefer that in most games, adjust as needed depending on your preference, but I have it off and I just go 0. I prefer maximum FOV in a game, but you can reduce it too if you're getting motion sickness from the fisheye effect of the camera. You can reduce it. I always set mine to max in any game, so FOV 80 for me. I recommend night mode for your audio. That kind of compresses the audio, makes the quiet sounds a little bit louder, makes the loud sounds a little bit quieter. So you don't have to have your headset up so loud to hear some of those faint sounds as someone's sneaking up on you. Big thing there, definitely recommend that. On PC, I personally play with an MMO mouse. It's the Razer Naga. It has 12 buttons on the side, and I love using those buttons on the mouse to do different things. So I really recommend remapping the buttons for different functions of the game. And I mean, if you have a mod controller that has the buttons on the back of the controller, highly recommend remapping some of your controls to those extra buttons as well. I remap my voice chat to my mouse. As far as controls go, one thing I really like to do is set up my crouch on my mouse as well. It allows you to slide with your mouse. I use 0 because that's one of the edge buttons on the mouse that's very easy to hit. I also remap my roll. So I have the dodge roll, proximity chat, and crouch all set to mouse buttons that allow me to easily hit them, and that is massively helpful. I put emote on the mouse wheel just because that helps me as well. It makes it easier to hit the emotes 8, which is, right in the middle of my mouse pad. And then you can pull up a little interaction wheel for your emotes and easily say, hey, Raider, or whatever you need. Shoulder swapping. Not enough people do it. I think you should have shoulder swap mapped to a key that you can very easily use. I also put this on my mouse, but for a controller player, I would say just make sure it's not like an alternative button that you're not comfortable pushing quickly, when you're in the middle of combat. Some people may or may not prefer mouse smoothing. I have it off right now. It was on for a long time when I first started playing, and it never really affected me, so I wouldn't worry too much about that one. Let's get into it a little bit. I'll hop into a match, show you a couple of other tips. I would really recommend looking at the skill tree for in-round crafting. In-round crafting and traveling tinkerer, in my opinion, are two of the best skill points in the skill tree. You can make all kinds of different stuff in round, even with just basic crafting. You can make bandages, you can make shield rechargers. And once you get traveling tinkerer, the biggest thing that I use all the time is crafting raider hatch keys, which is massive. I'll show you guys in a couple of minutes here when we get in a raid, all the cool stuff you can craft. I'll pull up that menu. The only other skill point that I really care about more than anything else is security breach. I think it's worth it. It's one of my favorite perks, even after they've changed the spawns. They spawn randomly, but if you know all the spawns, it's a great little route to run on any map to go to all of the different security breaches and try to get loot. They usually have a gun. Sometimes they'll have a wolf pack, high tier explosive like a deadline, sometimes Vita spray. Really, really great stuff. So big fan of the security breach. A lot of people hate on it since they nerfed the perk, but it is definitely up there. Probably one of my faves of all time. Thing to note about traders, I feel like a lot of people I talk to seriously forget that the traders are as present as they are in Arc Raiders. Every single day you can get stuff from Celeste with seeds, essential components. I mean, oh, I'm out of magnets, I'm out of oil, I need duct tape for some attachments. Did you trade all your springs for the day? Because you can get a massive amount of useful things every day just for the seeds that Scrappy brings you. And if you go get fruits, you can recycle those fruits into seeds in your inventory. Definitely make sure to make use of that. Other thing I would recommend is looking at Lance. You're in the right place. As he says, you come in after you survive a free kit, and don't forget to trade in your free kit loadout. So yeah, there's a few tips for the menu for Arc, interesting settings I like to use, and just some little things to remind you of. Don't forget to use Celeste and the other traders to get some stuff every day. If you're not shooting for 3 million for the expedition, or if you're already over your 3 million, all that extra money is just stuff you can play with to enjoy your time. So let's get into it. Run a little free match, try and show you guys a couple of settings things in game. I knew I heard a cache. Heck yeah. Rated cache right on spawn. Oh, this is so perfect. One of the other tips I wanted to mention is in raid, light shield recycles for different things than it does out of raid. And this is the case with any item. You'll get more typically of any resource when you recycle it out of raid. But look at this guy, light shield. This is something you find regularly. And if you're short on arc alloy, it's a free arc alloy anytime you find one. Don't forget, you don't always have to kill arc to get your arc alloy. You can get them from recycling different pieces too. So you find a lot of light shields on raiders, even broken ones will recycle into arc alloy in raid. So it's just always worth grabbing one if you need something. Big tip that I always recommend to all of my friends is definitely grab all the rubber, the plastic, and the chemicals that you see. Because with that in-round crafting, they are invaluable. In-round crafting with chemicals and plastic, you can make all kinds of useful things. Impact grenades, adrenaline shots. Look at that. Made a couple of shield rechargers just from some arc cells. I am sitting pretty now. Started with a free kit. Now I got 2 defibs, a couple shield rechargers, and I didn't even get the security breaches that spawn here. I just got some of the loot in this area. So it's always worth checking the security breach spawns. Little weapon case. Damn red gang. Matching reds. I like your fits, guys. Was that the new skin? Hell yeah, that's a new skin. Oh, I'm playing Marathon all weekend, so it's Such a welcome change to actually hear people talking. Ooh, security breach. It's already open, but got some free ammo for me. Sub Red Gang. And the nice thing about keeping the plastic and stuff in your inventory is when you get to the end of the raid, if you find something more valuable, just swap it out. I always take the crude explosives, the arc alloy, and if I can, the power cells from those pops. They're so good. Yeah, here we go. Back to Speranza. Now that same shield recycles for plastic. So if you need plastic or arc alloy, light shields are a random thing you can grab if you have them sitting there, something you can convert. They're not the best source of this by any means, but it's something. I always check these servers because they usually have sensors, which you can use in round crafting to make hatch keys from. Always worth checking these guys. There we go. I got 3 sensors. That's enough for a Raider hatch key. Look around here. All of these desks can spawn advanced electrical components. Adrenaline shot. That's why you always pick up the plastic and the chemicals. Yeah, I always recommend bringing in the adrenaline shots. Once you have your medical bench crafted, you can make them for just chemicals and plastic. Having 5 to start every raid is so useful because you can just sprint to wherever you need to go. Love the adrenaline shots. Alrighty. Time to see what comes with the new expedition in Ark. Thanks for joining Buttons and Buds. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe everywhere, and join our Discord if you want some people to play with.